Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Mishal Saeed, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're thrilled to have Kris San, the founder and principal of CWK Consulting, joining us. With over 20 years of experience in leadership and consulting, Kris launched CWK Consulting to empower executives and organizations through tailored coaching, leadership development, and strategic planning. Kris is going to share her founding story with us today, how CWK Consulting is transforming leadership and the vision for scaling this boutique firm. So let's dive in. Kris, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's kick things off for the listeners. Take us back to the beginning. What specific problem within the organizational or leadership landscape, perhaps around ineffective leadership or team misalignment, inspired you to start CWK Consulting to start with?
The thing that inspired me to do the work that I'm doing now is the lack of true support and partnership that exists when you're under a founder under $1 million. It's like until you've hit product market fit or you have a boatload of cash coming in consistently, no one wants to touch you. And so I believe in making talent.
Mhm.
And I understand the importance of buying it, but I really believe in the people that have a dream, that have a mission, that have a voice, that are doing something that's beyond just making money. This is the impact, this is their legacy. And I am very passionate about walking through that journey step by step, however long it takes to get there.
Love that. Now, I want to dive now into the deliverables of how that really looks like, how you actually shape talent and really what that process is. So tell us a little bit about, for the listeners that are tuning in and they don't really know much about leadership development and what the services are, walk us through your core offer, who is your ICP, and what do some of those outcomes look like? And also if you can touch a little bit on the deliverables.
For sure. So our ICP are bootstrap founders under a million. We work mainly with the personal brand side of things. So we're working with the individual. And then the business brand is a result or an extension of the personal brand mission. So that's very important distinction. The other thing is that the way that we do it is like we have created a brand operating system that we install in people's businesses to manage their relationship capital. Business is relationships. And there's so much happening right now, just with all of the distractions, all of the hundred of thousands of things that you got to get done in a day, just as a business owner, not to mention if you have active social life, relate partnerships, kids, family engagements, especially as a Latino. I know Latinos, like we have a whole full-time job around just maintaining our family familiar relationships. So there's so much going on. And so what you don't track, you can't leverage. So the
Mm.
most important thing is first understanding like where is your relationships? Where does that look like? What kind of leverage you have? What kind of brand power or potency you have? Because we may think that we have a lot of people supporting us in our corner until it's time to buy, until it's time to give time.
Yeah.
That's when we're really going to know. And I've had situations where someone thinks that they have very high relationship capital. And when it was time for people to show up, no one showed up. And this was
Mm.
out of hundreds of people. So it's really important to be very objective about this. And there's no better way to be objective than to see it plainly, black and white, in some kind of database. And so that's what we're really providing. Imposter syndrome comes. Why does somebody with 20 years of experience have imposter syndrome?
Mm.
Because they can only see what they're lacking, not what they have. They cannot see their value. And so this brand operating system allows them to be able to see the value, articulate the value. And when you can do that, then now you're in a position of power. You're not just coming, oh, I need this client or I need this deal, because you can measure, is this even a quality deal or person that I want to be dealing with? And so that is what we're doing with individuals.
I love that. Yeah, that was such a relatable point there. I feel like as a minority as well, like absolutely, you start your own business, you start your own consulting or whatever it is, and you would think the first people to invest and buy into your vision are your own family members or the people you think are the closest around you. And that ends up being like the total opposite. It's like such an eye opener moment, unfortunately, but it's one of those moments that become transformational in that sense as an entrepreneur. And I'm sure you went through that and you shared that as well. And the listeners can relate as well as they're figuring out, hey, my venture as well. I'm trying to reach out and what does that look like? So it's essentially a brand operating system from what it looks like. You're working quarterly with the Bootstrap founders. Now, after, let's say, 30, 60, 90 days, what does that actual customer journey look like? If you can map that out for us, I would love to learn more about more on the deliverable side, really what you're giving in terms of those tangibles hand in hand. If you can walk us through what that pathway looks like for someone who comes through the process.
For sure. So once we have the brand operating system tracking all of your relationships, then we'll be able to understand your customer acquisition costs, where are your customers coming from, who are the highest valued relationship potentials, who's referring you, what value is that translating into, right? Like all of that data is going to come from tracking your relationships. How many calls or interactions do you have to have with somebody before they trust you enough to buy? All of that is going to happen. Once we have that data, then we'll be able to start creating content that's specific to our customer's journey and the people that we want to nurture the most. So it's all about then doing customer segmentation, who goes to nurture, who goes to have free gifts, who gets special treatment because of the way that they're showing up for our brands. It's about rewarding the people that are giving us value and not rewarding the people that are not giving us value. And then really understanding the ripple of that relationship. So depending on what that ripple and that information tells us, then we can start making better informed decisions about what kind of content we'll create, what kind of initiatives we have to make in order to push the brand in the direction that we wanted to go.
Yeah, I love the fact that this is super customized. It's very hands-on from really the beginning, starting from, okay, understanding the customer profile, segmenting those customers, and then really figuring out, okay, before we can even create that content and start that personal storytelling for someone, we need to make sure that there's like that match at the end of the day. So I love the fact that there is that customization aspect. Now, many guests that we've interviewed, they've run very similar offers with customized coaching and customized branding per se, right? Working with on an individual basis. And they found it tough to scale without sacrificing the quality or even burning out. I'm curious to get your thoughts on how you've thought about scaling your offer while still keeping it effective and manageable. What are you doing on that side to start growing into 2025 and really creating more of that predictability and a way to not just have yourself, maybe other people involved? How does all of that look like?
For sure. So, first of all, I don't like to put myself in the category of coaching because we are much more like tough love consultants. Like we're that friend that's going to shake you and be like, you're doing it wrong. We're not trying to be like, ponder how you feel about this. No, because business has been debunked. Like, if you have insecurities about something, then I'm going to be like, okay, cool. We cannot move forward until you deal with your insecurities around being seen.
Yeah.
I am not going to be the person that's going to walk you through that process because I'm not a therapist.
Mm,
So you need to go get that checked out, and then you can come and continue on the journey of building your brand. So it gives you the leverage and the growth that you want. So that's first of all, that's a big distinction with us. Second of all, we're giving you the tools so then you can operate your business effectively. So that's another big difference. Like this is about education because it doesn't matter that I build you a whole brand universe with
mm,
every single level mapped out and all the branding and all the amazingness and all the sales process and the onboarding and I do all these things, but then you don't feel confident to run it because you don't see yourself as a business owner.
mm,
That's a very real thing. So it's about, it doesn't matter if we build the thing if you don't know how to drive it. So
mm,
we are educating more than anything. We're more of a training and development of entrepreneurship based
mm,
on the person. And then from there, we set you up with such a foundation that's going to carry you for the rest of your career because it's all principalistic and foundational. How do you
mm,
talk to people? How do you
mm,
build trust? How do
mm.
you find value? How do you describe value? How do you take away value, give away value in the moment?
Yeah.
Those are infinitely more powerful than any tool or any software. That's why what we're doing, although we're using technology, I don't see myself as a tech person. I don't see myself as a software person. Like it's none of that. This is just straight up relationship building and quantifying the value of what kind of power you have as a brand. So then you can go into the room with that value in mind and then you can speak that. And then at that time, when you also know this stuff, you can also be like, oh, I can go for somebody that's a bestseller author and maybe
Mm.
do a JV partnership with them, a joint venture, right? That's what it is. And so you can get in the room and be like, hey, I can add value to your stuff like this and be a plug and play opportunity. To me, that's the highest form of positioning.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
can plug and play into someone else's ecosystem and they can do the thing back.
Yeah, yeah. And it becomes habitual then, right? Like you said best, it's utilizing those principles, utilizing the frameworks, the tools that you provide to them. You show them first how to do it, you exemplify it, but enablement is where the magic happens. Getting them to do it on their own, which is phenomenal. So no, I really appreciate you actually like clarifying that and sharing more with the listeners on no, this is like really what it is. It's more systematized and it's not and me just being that person and like working with you and making you feel all good. You're the one going out there and you're going to execute on that. So that's phenomenal.
And
Now,
I'm sorry, real quick, to your point, I think that's why so many people struggle to scale
yeah.
because they're expecting for their work to create a ripple when
Mm,
they've created dependency.
yeah, absolutely. And I think oftentimes that's why you can see a lot of consultants and even like some of the coaches out there, they can admit to themselves that it is possible to scale and they use that, oh, I'm okay being boutique, but it's really I just haven't figured out how to productize this. I really haven't figured out how do I actually make this work for myself in terms of a scalable offer. You've cracked the code here from what it sounds like, and that's awesome. Now, I want to like really find out more about that alignment, where you're getting in front of your audience, so building on your growth right now, your leadership summit presence in 2023, over 800 LinkedIn followers. How are you currently acquiring some of your clientele? Which channels, whether it's referrals, LinkedIn, paid ads, have been like the most effective for landing clients?
For sure. I haven't gotten to the paid ads world yet because I truly believe in going through the manual process of understanding my customer so deeply that when I'm ready to put ads on the play, that they're just going to add fuel to the fire.
Mm.
So that's number one. I don't think that a lot of people are ready for ads, just like I don't think a lot of people are ready for being visible on organic social yet either. I think it's better to go ghost and then appear with this revamped makeover and just fire potent content
Yeah.
because you know what you're talking about, you know what
Mm.
your value is, and you know who you're trying to signal,
Yeah.
than to just figure it out
Mm.
naked, is what I call it. You're leaving your house naked.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, we're doing right now a lot of referrals. LinkedIn is becoming a customer acquisition channel for us as well. I would love to debunk this as well. This takes time. For my
Mm.
LinkedIn to start producing actual qualified leads, it has taken 8 years, at
Mm.
least a year and a half for that to start happening. So that's starting to happen now. So I'm really excited about that. We just got 50 plus new potential leads from one post from an ex client
Mm.
that
Wow.
came months after we did the service deal. Like, how many clients are so top of mind, right? How do you stay top of mind for months on end where they're like, yo, I have to re engage or re shout Kris for the
Yeah.
work that she did on a 2 hour workshop?
Mm.
So these are the things that really come out of tracking the
Mm.
ripple of the relationship. And so then now I can show that entire journey from January when we worked together one time
Mm.
to now May when I just got 50 plus new connections.
Yeah. Love that. So, from what it sounds like, referrals have been the main source of acquisition, what's been working the best. And I'm curious to learn more about really on the ad side. What does that actual timeline look like? How are you positioning yourself and understanding your ICP? And it's more for the listeners who are also in that struggle of should I run some ads or should I be working on something else right now before I even do that? What does that process look like for you as you're figuring that out within your own business?
Yeah, so for me is once we achieve product market fit, then that's when ads are going to make a lot more sense. We'll have our messaging nailed down. We'll have the early buyers that are adopting the product. We'll have the tangible value that it's creating for them in their business. Because once again, you Not everyone sells the same. Not everyone maintains and nurtures their relationships the same. So this is about building a business model that works with who you are and your lifestyle,
Yeah.
right? So until we have those things nailed down, then it doesn't make sense to run ads and then start getting a bunch of people that are wasting our time, wasting our energy, wrong fits. I've had every single experience that you can think of over these last 10 years. So a lot of what we're doing now is not just about being on the offense, but it's also about being on the defense. It's about protecting our energy and protecting the value that we have to offer because that's how burnout happens.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it is a lot of a time suck when you're spending time working with people that don't even fit the avatar of what is an ideal relationship. I can very much relate to that as well. And as a founder and someone who's probably wearing more hats right now, it's not sustainable. It's not going to be the most effective way to really tackle that head on. Now, you figured out a lot with that, with utilizing referrals and really like figure aligning on your ICP. Would love to learn more about your approach to sales. What strategies have been the most effective in converting some of those leads that are coming in right now through LinkedIn into actual long-term clients? Are you personally driving the sales yourself, or do you have a team in place that's like vetting maybe some of the leads that come through the process, or they're also having some of those conversations? How does all of that look like, and how is it structured?
For sure. So the content and the application process and how we manage how people even get on our calendar, that's doing the vetting for us. That's number one. Number two, as far as the selling, I am currently selling and I'm the only one selling right now because I wouldn't even really trust someone else to sell because we don't have a repeatable sales process yet. It's custom to the person and depending on how I met them and how did they come in and how did they hear from us and all of that. Because I found that a lot of people now also have resistant to being put in a process, right? They want to feel like they're just organically stumbling upon it and you don't really care if they buy or not. And that's more of the energy. And especially with females being the majority of our clients as well, females are very, you know how it is. You can't predict our mood tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the reality of it. So I think that we've also been taught to sell in a male dominated environment.
Yeah.
And when it comes to creatives, which is also a big clientele of mine, very like engineers, architects, these are all very creative people that love spending time building in the laboratory and they don't want to be sold to. So for us, it's all about making sure that they have everything that they need to make an informed decision. Are we the partner for you or not? Do you want to use this vehicle of growth? Do you care and value people? Because that's also a very big one. Most people are like very transactional.
Yeah.
We are building real relationships here. My clients are my friends.
Yeah.
My clients are my family. And it sounds whatever, but and maybe that's like the female energy, but it's just much more than just business and making deals. This is about growing together and creating an allyship. And money just becomes a cherry on top. So that's how we sell. We make sure that it's the right fit. We make sure that we can help them and that they want to choose this path.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good sales training out there, really good materials, but especially within the creative space, like you said, and working with really just diverse people, like women especially, it doesn't resonate. It's probably not going to be the right approach to really having those conversations. It comes off as inauthentic, transactional, like you said. So yeah, no, I love the fact that really I can tell you're doing a lot of really providing those use cases, those ideas, more value-based interactions, right? Rather than just like thinking about, hey, how can I get this person across the line? That really does speak on a human to human level, which is more of what we need nowadays. I know I can appreciate that. Now, from what it sounds like, the growth's been very impressive. Really, like you've grown your LinkedIn presence so remarkably. You're doing so much within this landscape of bringing a lot of that personal storytelling for bootstrapped founders. If you can share with the listeners as you go through building the business, any bottlenecks, any challenges that stand out, what would it be? Is it even attracting maybe higher value leads, like scaling on the fulfillment side of things? What are you most focused on solving to keep this momentum going into 2025?
Yeah. So the biggest challenge that we have is that people don't know that they need this.
Mm,
It's almost like people have been so used to toxic and mediocrity that the only way that they'll understand the value of it is by literally experiencing it. It's if you've ever been in a healthy relationship, you're like, I didn't even know that I was missing this. So it's that contrast.
yeah.
So we're constantly trying to find ways to simulate the experience of what
Mm,
you're getting from this work so then you can truly understand how powerful it is.
mm,
And that's where we're at. People need it. It's life changing. This is about how you think,
mm,
how you approach situations. Everything will shift your personal and professional relationships when you start showing up with standards.
yeah.
And so that is something that I didn't have standards for a very long time. And I
Oh,
was in a lot of shitty relationships for a very long time.
yeah. I think everyone goes through those blind spots, myself included. And I know our listeners tuning in, they're like, oh, yeah, I remember. And it's that moment when you're like 5 years ago, you're like, oh, why did I even engage in that? Why did I even go through that? But I think that's so relatable because oftentimes there's like on our side that like longing that, hey, I want to work with you. I really want to make this work. Unfortunately, it's not seen later, but I think when you continue and you continue to produce content and produce that value, stay in touch, eventually you can still capture those individuals as well. It's all about consistency from like an entrepreneurship perspective and not backing down, right? Even if it's not now, later on, they'll probably see other people doing it based on those recommendations that you had. And it's that proof of concept that kind of creates that flywheel effect. So testimonials being one, and I know you've done quite a few over the last year. Now I want to know about the future. With everything you've accomplished, what's top of mind now for growing CWK Consulting over the next 6 to 12 months?
Right now, it's just continuing to be visible, continuing to attract really strong partners, joint ventures. It's all about that. Like I've been very selective and very, my approach has been very like a scientist. I have a hypothesis. I go out into the market to a very small segment. I test my hypothesis and then it either works or it doesn't. And then I take what I've learned, I go back into the lab and then I refine it and then I come back. And so that's how I've done it. And so now we're finally at a place where our product line is locked in, the value that we provide is locked in, we know the people that we're going for, right? All of those things are so done. So then now we can start increasing the perimeter of that visibility
Mm,
into a larger segment and then go through whatever challenges that line is going to bring to us. Because I don't like using humans as collateral damage for my ignorance. Ignorance is going to happen at every single level, and every level demands a new you. And
yeah.
what you learn to get there is not the thing that you need to learn to get to the next place. And so I tread very lightly with that because I respect people so
Mm,
much.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so ethical, though. Not a lot of founders and entrepreneurs talk about that. And rather than using your clients or like your prospects as ways to test out new strategies or test out different ways of creating different things or having conversations, like you're conscientious and you're doing it in a way that's sustainable rather than just blowing it all out in the water. Because it's so tempting to do that, especially when you have already a good product fit and like you can cross that line. Now, one more question as we're in the lightning round for the listeners, mainly founders that are looking to follow in your footsteps, what's one tool, resource, or like the best piece of advice you've received about really scaling a consulting business that you'd offer to them on one last note?
That's difficult because I think a lot of people that are in consulting may not even be qualified to be in consulting. So I think like a lot of people have glamorized the consulting role and they don't realize that it's very difficult to be a very good consultant. Like the
Mm,
level of empathy, the level of understanding, the level of dissection that you need to understand about the needs of the people that you're helping and growing through. So I think that at the end of the day, it's about finding the thing that lights you up and that you're passionate about and that you're willing to dedicate the next 10, 20 years to developing and being a master of your craft. And if you're not willing to do that, then that's probably not the thing. that you should be doing. And we live in an era where you can literally do anything and be
Mm,
successful.
yeah.
So there's no need to settle for the thing that you doesn't light you up.
Love that. That goes even beyond just like consulting. It's just like anything that you want to do in life. And I think you really impacted right now. I'm excited for this episode to launch. A lot of listeners who are not in consulting, but they probably now have that aha moment that, yeah, let me go out there, let me be consistent, let me master one jack of trade and just keep at it. It's the consistency, right? That's what it is at the end of the day. Love that.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. On that note, that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Kris, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey thus far from 20 years in consulting, founding CWK Consulting, really empowering founders and leaders and transforming organizations with strategic planning on the personal branding side. I'm super excited to see your journey as you go into 2025 and establish that runway. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you would like to get in touch with Kris, we'll link the LinkedIn profile below in the summary, and you can get in touch and find out more about CWK Consulting that way. And you can also find some more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class sales systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you all on the next one.